Hey, what's up guys, it's BenBonk and welcome back to the 23rd Slimekeep Devlog. In this devlog I created upgrades for the slime pet, and I also got started on the Slime King boss fight. Also, if you're new here, Slimekeep is a fast-paced roguelike where you must kill and capture slimes to stop the corruption that has infected your land. Without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing I wanted to improve was the slime capturing panic mode. I worked on this in the last devlog, but I realized I wasn't too satisfied with the result and it still needed some tweaks. First, I thought the old capturing was a little slow, and I wanted to make it more fast-paced. So I decreased the time between moves for slime being captured, and I think this really helped. Next, I didn't think there's enough skill or guidance involved in capturing it, so I experimented with this arrow that would pop up and display the direction in which the slime pet would jump to in the panic state. I also added the panic movement code so that slimes can move in all 360 degrees instead of just 8 directions, and have variable jump lengths so they wouldn't just jump the same amount every time like previously. Moving on, I fixed the position of the arrow indicators to be in front of the slimes instead of just on top of them, which I think looked much better. Another change I made was having a variable amount of slime jumps to adjust to a slime's difficulty. It used to be a random 3 or 4, but now the harder the slime, the more jumps they will make before they're able to be captured. And with this in place, you'll notice how smaller slimes will only jump 1 or 2 times before getting captured. However, if the slime is a little bigger, they'll keep on jumping for longer, as seen here. Next up, I added a little bit of screen shake when a slime being captured jumps, just to make the whole capture feel a little more juicy. The final 2 things I did before implementing slime pet upgrades were fixing this weird capture gun dash movement bug where the player would move really slowly, and this annoying issue where the weapon would snap back if moving in a certain way. But now, it was time to actually work on upgrades. In the last devlog, I created the outline for the slime pet upgrades, but I didn't actually get to creating the upgrades themselves, so I figured it was time to start working. First, I created the bow and arrow upgrade, which just increased the slime pet's attack range, which was pretty simple to implement. Next, we had the slime bolts upgrade, which would stop the slime pet from melee attacking, instead have a slime pet shoot homing slime ball projectiles at enemies. Then we had Wizard's Touch, which would stop the slime pet from having to walk up to an enemy to attack it, and instead, the slime pet can now teleport to the closest enemy and attack it like that. Next was Pack Mines, which created a small explosion upon the pet hitting an enemy. This explosion would damage other enemies as well as the slime that it has attacked itself. Rebounds would allow the pet a chance to immediately attack a different slime in range upon attacking another slime, kind of like a chain reaction. This upgrade is kinda glitchy, but yeah, I guess it works. Assassin's Touch would create a chance for an attack to instantly kill a slime with this neat katana effect. I like this idea because this upgrade could be a decent early game upgrade against easy slimes, but prove especially useful in the later stages of the game. But before I continue with the video, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this video, DataCamp. DataCamp is an online learning platform that makes acquiring data skills easier and more convenient for everyone. They have courses for all skill levels, but regardless, you can find something useful from their over 350 data science courses designed by top experts. If you've been wanting to get into data science, DataCamp is a great start, so go ahead and take one of their free assessments to get personalized learning recommendations. Additionally, DataCamp offers a gamified learning experience. This way, learning doesn't have to feel like a chore. Best yet, all this can be done from your browser of choice with no additional software needed. Personally, I consider checking out their Machine Learning Fundamentals course if you're interested, as I think it's a very interesting topic and this can be applied to game development. So make sure to give it a try. Use my link in the description and check out the first chapter of any course for free. Insta-Suck is a capture gun upgrade which would give a chance for the capture gun to instantly suck in a slime without having to deal with the panic minigame. Potentially, this could be very useful if the player is having trouble with the panic minigame. Alternative ammo would give a small amount of bullets to the player's weapon upon capturing the slime. And yeah, don't question how the slime pet literally converts slimes into bullets. Energy transfer makes it so upon the pet attacking the slime, there's a chance to temporarily increase the player's fire rate and movement speed. And health transfer is the same concept, but instead there's a chance for the player to gain an extra heart. But with that said, those are most of the tier 1 and 2 upgrades, so now it's time to move on to some of the tier 3 upgrades, which are much more powerful and unique upgrades. First, we have tier 3 for the Ranger class, which is called Slime to Die. This upgrade literally gives the pet the ability to occasionally shoot a massive missile damaging every slime in the room by a decent amount. As you can see, once the missile hits some terrain, the screen flashes yellow and boom, just like that, all the slimes in the room are instantly gone. I know this might seem a little overpowered, but that's kind of the point and it won't be as powerful later in the game, so don't worry. Moving on, for the Brute tier 3, we had the Taser. This upgrade would simply stun enemies upon the pet attacking them for a brief period of time. It's a pretty basic concept, but I like this stun idea. I think it can really help the player in certain situations. Next up, for the Assassin tier 3, I made an upgrade called the Big Katana. This upgrade would give the pet a chance to pull out this absolutely massive katana and swing it, dealing massive damage to slimes that get hit. I know this looks a little goofy, but still I think it can be really satisfying. Also, you might wonder how this attack differs from Slime to Die, the massive missile attack. The answer is, this attack isn't guaranteed to hit all the slimes in a room, unlike Slime to Die, so to compensate, it does more damage. Next, we had Double Trouble for the specialty tier 3 upgrade. This upgrade would capture 2 copies of a slime instead of just 1 when capturing a slime. I think this is a pretty interesting concept, because it's kind of like an investment into the capture gun. But yeah, that was pretty much that. And the final upgrade I made was the Slime to Stun upgrade for the passive class. This upgrade would basically give the slime pet a chance to stun all the enemies in a room for 5 seconds. It's not anything crazy like damaging all the enemies in a room, but I still think this upgrade can be pretty useful. And with that said, that was pretty much all the upgrades I made. I did leave a few out though, just to provide some exploration if you end up playing the game. I think it's going to be interesting to see what players decide to build. Would they go for a traditional build with 1 or 2 tier 3 upgrades, or find some interesting synergies with lower tier upgrades? You'll just have to experiment yourself if you end up playing the game. Also, let me just address the elephant in the room, this massive upgrade at the top. I was planning for it to be some kind of extremely strong upgrade that needs 2 tier 3 upgrades to unlock it. I didn't actually get around to creating it in this devlog, but if you have any ideas, feel free to let me know in the comments. Anyways, let's move on with the devlog. One fix I wanted to make was to the player's house. I realized that the Fog of War was messing with the player's house inside effect, so I fixed this just by simply disabling the Fog of War when the player enters the house, and re-enabling it when the player leaves. And while I was here, I decided to do some other small improvements to the house, like making the minimap move out of the way, and adding this little light effect so the player could see the entrance/exit. But with that done, I spent a time just brainstorming what the game needed at its current state, and I decided that it was time to work on the Slime King boss fight for the final trial for the player. If you don't know, in Slimekeep you can fight the Slime King whenever you want, but you probably won't be prepared right off the bat. I just felt like I had a lot of other factors leading up to the fight set up, so I just needed to make this final fight to tie things together, if that makes sense. So I headed back into Unity to get started. First, I worked on getting the boss fight room template set up for random generation. So now, if the player jumps in the boat to head off to the Slime King's lair, it'll take the player to this new room layout, which might look identical to the hub area, but it's actually a completely different set of rooms. Next, I hopped into Google Docs to draft out some ideas for the Slime King boss fight. And after a bit, I had quite a few things down, such as basic details and attack ideas. I planned for the Slime King to be in this pretty dark themed castle setting where he'd sit on a throne with 2 guards on his side. I also like the idea of having 5 phases along with 1 final last stand phase. The thing that would make this boss fight unique is that these 5 initial phases would have their attacks be based on the different types of slimes that you can capture. So Brute, Ranger, Assassin, etc. And the Slime King can choose these 5 phases in a random order, so there'd always be a variety. Huge shout out to Doormat and my Discord server for initially coming up with this idea for the phases. But enough said, let's get to work. First, I worked on the logic for the phases system so the Slime King could choose a random phase. I just set up a simple list of delegate functions that could be called when a new phase is chosen, and a function to choose the new phase. Here's this in action, for example. You can see in these debugs, every time I call the next phase function, a random phase will generate, and these phases cannot repeat. With that basic script outline, I now figured that I needed some art for this Slime King. I decided to ask my Discord server because there are already tons of great Slime King concept art in there that people have made in the past. And because of this, that worm took it upon himself to make this amazing Slime King concept. I thought this just looked amazing, so with permission from that worm of course, I decided to use this animation for the game. However, I did want to make a few changes to have the king match the art style of the rest of the game a bit more. So I spent a few hours remaking and editing the Slime King's throne and the king himself. It's not that I didn't like the previous king or throne, I just wanted this art to fit in a bit better. And with all that done, here's what the old throne looked like, and here's what the new throne looked like. Here's what the old small king looked like, and here's what the new small king looked like. Don't worry, I'll explain this guy's purpose in just a second. And finally, here's what the old Slime King looked like, and here's what the revamped Slime King looked like. Altogether, here's what everything looked like in the animation. And speaking of animations, the Slime King now need an idle animation, so I just ended up making this for the regular Slime King and small Slime King. Now it's time to set these animations in Unity. I just got this small Slime King animation set up, and now you're probably wondering, what is this small Slime King doing here in the place of the normal Slime King? See, I had this idea for a funny intro cutscene before you fight the king involving the small Slime King. You might already have an idea for what it is based on the animations, or if you're just in my Discord server, and I'd love to show you it, but at the same time, I think I'll just keep it a secret for now. You'll have to find out by playing the game when it comes out. But moving on, I set up the Slime King idle animation that I created, and also just set up the basics for this boss, such as taking damage. Now it's time to make the tile set for this boss. I first attempted to reuse the tile set from my previous game, Key Dungeon, with some edits, as it had a similar look I was going for. And after making these changes and setting up the room in Unity, I just think the room really didn't look too good in my opinion. I think my pixel art skills definitely need some work, but as all hope seemed lost, Equipped Hats in my Discord server came to the rescue and made this amazing tile set. I set it up, and now I think the boss room looked amazing. It was exactly what I was going for, so huge thanks to Equipped Hats. Anyways, now it's time to make this boss fight room look even better. I added some columns to the side of the room to kind of enclose the space a bit more. I then headed into Aseprite to create this carpet tile set, as I wanted a carpet to lead to the king's throne in the center of the room. With that finished, I really like this addition to the room, but we still weren't done, so I made these bleachers on the side of the room where I plan to have lots of little slimes cheer for the Slime King in the fight. Finally, I made these banners to go on the walls, which went through way too many revisions, but here you go. I'm not done decorating this room just yet, so don't worry, but I'm gonna end this devlog here. I'll try my best to finish this boss fight by the end of the next devlog, but no promises, I think it might take longer. Anyways, that's gonna be the end of the video. If you liked it, do not subscribe and do not like the video. Instead, subscribe and like the video. Well, that's all I have to say for now. Thanks for watching.